Welcome to Royal Haunts and the Six Wives of Henry VIII. Henry's fifth wife was young and vibrant, and it must have seemed like a breath of fresh air to a sick old man. Catherine was a cousin to Anne Boleyn, and like her she made good as a mistress rather than what was looked for in a queen consort, and being several years younger than Henry's eldest daughter, the two did not get along. Catherine caught the king's eye while lady-in-waiting to Anne of Cleves, and marrying Henry within 20 days of the annulment led to rumours that she was already with child. Whether Catherine thought she was pregnant or, it being wishful thinking on Henry's part, he showered his new love with gifts. Unfortunately, Catherine had a dubious past, and instead of elevating her family, who had lost some standing in the Anne Boleyn charade, was yet to have another tumble. Catherine came from a large family that had an aristocratic background, but that didn't make them wealthy, and Catherine was sent to live at Lambeth Palace with other young relatives in the care of the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk, and like Jane Seymour, Catherine was educated to the standards of the time, but standards were lax, with the Duchess taking little interest in her charges. Henry Manox, Catherine's music teacher, would now be labelled a paedophile, as he and Catherine both confessed that they had an intimate relationship. It didn't help Catherine that she got him an appointment as musician to her household on becoming queen. Then there was Francis Derham, secretary to the Duchess, having had a year-long affair, calling one another husband and wife. This would be seen as pre-contract in the eyes of the Church, but once the Duchess got to hear of it, Derham was sent to Ireland, presumably expecting to marry Catherine on his return, but instead he became Queen Catherine's secretary. Theories run from Catherine being blackmailed by Derham into giving him the post in return for his silence, to her keeping him close so as to continue the affair. When Catherine was first introduced to court by her uncle, the Duke of Norfolk, acquiring her a position of lady-in-waiting to the new Queen Anne, Catherine found herself attracted to one of Henry's favourite courtiers, Thomas Culpeper. He was also a relative on her mother's side. On her marriage to Henry, Catherine attained the wealth and power that she could only have dreamed of, but the downside was a husband 30 years older, obese, and with a festering ulcer that had to be drained. Henry and Catherine travelled England for the new queen to be shown off to her people, while preparations got underway for her coronation. During the tour she undertook what must have seemed like an adventurous game in arranging secret meetings with Culpeper. She put her trust in a lady-in-waiting, Lady Rochford, who was also the widow of George Boleyn, who had been executed along with his sister Anne. She aided the couple by passing messages, something which would later cost her life. Catherine's behaviour soon became common gossip, and as always there is someone ready to put a word in the right direction. When Thomas Cranmer was told of Catherine's background and her more recent indiscretion with Culpeper, Cranmer felt it his duty to inform the king. The net soon spread, and the Howard family found guilty of withholding treasonable information. Catherine could have got away with her life, as it was evident that there was a pre-contract of marriage with Derham, and had Catherine been married to anyone else, the matter would have been settled with a divorce. But all Henry could see was that she had made a fool of him. Catherine was taken to Middlesex, where she was held at Sion House, having readily admitted to relationships with all 3 men, at least prior to her marriage. Stripped of the title of queen, she awaited her fate as Derham was hanged, drawn and quartered, and Culpeper, a courtier, beheaded. Catherine was taken to the Tower of London on the eve of her execution, where she asked for the block to be brought to her so she could rehearse. Some doubt that such a thing happened, but as Catherine was being taken away for questioning, and slipping her guards, she ran along the hallways of Hampton Court, banging on a door, begging to see Henry, until she was dragged away, an act that is said to repeat itself in the form of a residual haunting. Apart from Hampton Court, Catherine joins the long list of those spirits wandering the Tower of London, though she is not restricted to the place of her execution, as it is thought to be her ghost at the King's Manor at York. She and Henry spent some time there, and she was said to be so happy that she returns to the place in spirit form. Catherine was executed on the 13th of February 1542 and interred within the church at the Tower of London, while Henry sought to marry for a 6th time.